We now have 3 sessions on the airline industry. Without the airlines, we can take our bicycles, our cars, or perhaps even better, our motorcycles. But in the long run, that would be pretty boring. Without airline industries, we have a problem in the tourism industry. I'm therefore very happy to welcome Mikko Turtiainen. I hope it was pronounced correctly, Mikko, who is Vice President Global Sales of Finnair. Mikko has been around quite a bit, seen a lot of Finnair, and today he is responsible for the global sales team. He's responsible for the Finnair brand, and he's a member of the senior management team. He has been representing Finnair in a lot of sessions and a lot of events, and he is known as a brilliant communicator. So we are looking very much forward to your presentation here, Mikko. The word is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Jan, for your kind words, and it's a great honor and pleasure to be here today representing Finnair and talking about this crisis and us getting out of this crisis in this extraordinary time. As mentioned, I've been over 20 years with Finnair and seen the many ups and downs of the industry, and today has been a special day for us at Finnair. Today is the day when we've started our ramp-up process, and we've gone from our bare minimum regarding our network. So from 5% of our normal flying, today we will start increasing that flying to about 25%. In July, we'll be operating about 2,500 flights, when originally we had budgeted about 10,000, over 10,000 flights for July. So today, in that sense, I hope is historical for Finnair, that today is the first step, the first baby steps that we as an airline are taking towards that journey, which we call the journey of recovery. We've ourselves estimated that this recovery journey will take about 2 to 3 years for us to get even close to 2019 volumes, but that day has to start from somewhere. And I'm happy to say that today is the day that Finnair starts this journey for our recovery. These are some topics that the last 3 months have been very hectic, in the sense that I believe everyone in the industry is thinking about what will the future look like? What is that term that you hear often about, the new normal? What is that unknown that we're heading to? And I'll open the door a little bit to questions and topics that we've been looking at in Finnair, that the industry also has been looking at, and we'll have that discussion on these matters. But I've prepared 4 or 5 slides that I was thinking about going through and running through to help us in the dialogue, and also maybe show some of the areas that we've been looking at. And I guess this would be the time that we could start to share the actual presentation. There we go. I hope this is all showing in the way that we have planned. But this first page basically is just saying that welcome on board this Finnair journey to the new and the unknown. Please buckle your seatbelts. It will be a smooth ride, and I'll take you through the upcoming points. If we look at how the industry, and now I'm talking about airlines, are actually approaching ramping up their network, you can see there are many different approaches that airlines are taking. Here you have a number of airlines and how they've had their network in June, July, and August. And the top line always represents basically the capacity that they've planned for that month, and the other lines represent different times in regards to when they do their adjustments for those months. So if you look at month number 8, so on the right of each of one of these graphs, you see the capacity that airlines have, and these chosen airlines have had in regards to August. And then the other lines that are slightly underneath are the capacities that those airlines are planning to fly in regards to August. On the very bottom right, here we see Finnair and how we've approached the actual capacity going forward. And just from the lines, you can see that Finnair has a very different approach towards how we're rebuilding our capacity and ramping up our flights. So if I put a little bit of focus on Finnair, you can see the top line is saying how many flights a day we pretty much had budgeted for June, July, and August per day. The lower line is what we have actually published. So it was back in mid-May when we came out with our ramp-up plans from July onwards. We've published a new schedule from July until the end of the winter season, so until the end of March 2021, where we are building that ramp up. As I mentioned, July starts with 25% of that originally budgeted amount of flights. And by the end of winter, we're planning on being at about 70% of that originally number of flights. We've taken this approach where we have really, I guess you could use the term, cleaned up our network and really put those flights that we truly intend to fly into the system, into the GDSs, for the B2Bs, for the consumers to find. If you look in comparison to how other airlines in the industry have taken the approach, you can see that they're either extremely optimistic in regards to flying pretty much their full networks in August, and from how they have taken July and even June, you have seen cancellations happening quite near to that actual departure date. So here, with this slide, I did want to show that there are different approaches, and Finnair has taken the approach where we truly want to put the network on sale that we truly intend to fly for a longer period of time. So for us, talking pretty much until the end of March 2021 for the whole winter season. Now, my next slide, my next picture is going to represent why have we taken this approach. And I've tried to illustrate this through this triangle that is the triangle in regards to important topics in regards to the ramp up. And in the very middle of that is trust. We do want to build the trust and the confidence in all actions that Finnair is doing that reflect towards the consumer, towards the traveler. We want to put the network on sale that we truly intend to fly to build the trust to the consumer that this is what they will and Finnair will be flying. And this, again, this road to recovery, the network, which is the basis for airlines, has started for us today, the 1st of July. Heading into this, it's been horrid looking through the newspapers and different medias in regards to how airlines have been coping. There are also many other partners and stakeholders in the industry who've also had a horrid time in regards to financials. But I think the industry is talking right now about the survival. It is a survival game in regards to who will be the strong companies, airlines, who will find their way out of this crisis. It is important what type of financials these companies have had in airlines. And I'm happy to say that Finnair had a strong financial situation heading into this crisis. We've said it publicly that Q2 has meant about 2 million in losses per day that we have been making. The strong financial situation that we have, combined with different type of financial measures that we've put, starting from rights issues to taking loans, are ways where we are ensuring our funding for the upcoming future. We're confident that Finnair will survive this, but these are also the messages that Finnair wants to convey to the public as well as to the B2B industry in regards to building the trust, building the confidence again, because in this time, there is a lot of confusion, there is a lot of untrust, and this is an important area that we as an industry, and not only as Finnair, we need to build to make sure that consumer behavior does look towards buying again, traveling again, and having the confidence in making those decisions. Another area that has been important in regards to coming or building up the ramp or the network and ramping it up has been the actual service concept. What approaches are airlines and the industry taking in a time where social distancing is a term used? Do we need masks or not? What type of restrictions are in the destination? Are we able to get into the country? Will the restaurants and museums be open? What type of service will we have at the hotel? So there are many questions that were not there pre-corona that the consumer also needs to understand when making their purchasing decisions and going forward. But this is like I mentioned, coming into this slide, a kind of a visual in regards to many of those critical topics that need to be tackled to really hit what's in the middle, to hit that trust and build that trust, because this is one area where due to the unknown that the future holds in store, many are wavering in regards to that trust. So this is a really important topic for us in the industry, be it airlines or hotels or or whomever that really needs to be worked at. It's been interesting to a degree over the past months to see that it is truly unknown that how consumer behavior will react over the next 6 to 12 months. I've outlined some of those topics that I've bumped into over the past couple of months, where I've seen a lot of different kind of ideas and directions. It starts with, the consumer, who at the end of the day will kind of also make this industry or break this industry. How will that consumer return to travel, be it corporate or leisure? And a lot of this has to do with how borders are opening, what kind of restrictions and recommendations are made by countries and borders. There are a lot of different kind of reports and surveys that have been made, saying that for some consumer segments, they'll be back traveling in up to 2 months, while others are saying that it could take up to even a year. But truly seeing how that ends up happening is something that only time will tell. Another interesting question is that how will that consumer behavior go in regards to where do they prefer to purchase their airline tickets or their hotels or their services that they'll need, be it car rentals or insurances? Will it be directly from the provider? Will it be more direct purchases from hotels directly or from airlines? Or will it be from the intermediary and wanting that first point of contact and first point of purchase for a wider number of goods and services? Again, time will tell. Even before Corona, a lot of discussion was around tourism in mass destinations, and now this is focusing more on the leisure. But how will this go forward? Will sustainability be how high in the discussions and the points when consumers are making decisions? At Finnair, we take sustainability extremely at a high level, also going forward from this crisis. We have our sustainability targets which remain at the same level, where we're looking at being carbon neutral by 2045. These haven't changed. But could it be that the preferences and the behavior in regards to buying your future travel, it will be more in towards the niche? Terms such as room to roam will be the ones that are discussed. Could this, for example, looking at Finland, where I guess you could say this is a strength of Finland, where nature is, part of our heritage and culture, where the lakes and the midnight sun are I can't say every day, but are part of our different seasons. So will this be something that is more keen over the next 12 months for that traveler? We also go that, I think today is a good example in regards to having this digital expo, that I think we've all come accustomed to different kind of virtual tools, be it Zoom or be it Teams or be it the different WebEx kind of platforms that are available. They've come out over the past 2 months. So many more of these are available. If we look at sporting events, if we look at exhibitions, if we look at different kind of events that are happening, will this become more of a tool to do it digitally and through virtual platforms? Or will it still be being there in place and kind of feeling the event, having that face-to-face contact that also builds trust and maybe dives into that experience in a stronger way? Which one will come out stronger from this crisis? And these are areas that then also affect airline decision making. An interesting topic where I also see a typo is strategy overall. That will this cause airlines and partners in the industry to accelerate their strategies, or will airlines and companies redefine their strategies? Which way will it go? At Finnair, our view is that we're accelerating the strategy. Technology was a big part of our strategy, making sure that we're in the digital channels today and of the future. This is something that we're not putting the brake on. The same goes with sustainability. So I would say that for us, it's more about accelerating the strategy, making sure that we get to that goal that we had prior to Corona, that we also get there post-crisis. This is an interesting one that affects a lot about network buildup and what type of timetables and schedules and destinations you will service. Do you do it more towards the corporate or more towards the leisure? And this has been an interesting topic. I get many views that, yes, corporate travel will start first. Others say, no, leisure will start first. But who will be that segment? What will be that segment that comes out fastest out of this crisis? Will it be different in regards to the markets? Will it be different in regards to O&Ds? These are really important topics for airlines to consider when they are making their plans going forward, especially in regards to the ramp up. The service concept is something I touched. What type of adjustments do you make in regards to the service concept? Do they go close to pre-corona levels, or is this a time when you also see adjustments going forward? Another interesting topic, especially when maybe you go into certain markets, group travel is still a very big part of that travel. In today's world, will that group travel become more FIT-based travel? This also has an effect in regards to how airlines do inventory, which is one of the, I call it one of the chambers of the heart for an airline. You have network, you have RMP, so revenue management pricing, you have sales, you have marketing. These all, to a degree, kind of make those four chambers of an airline, and especially that commercial division. In today's world, that heart and the chambers, I would almost argue it's more than four, but this has been a traditional view on how I've looked at it. But these are some of the unknowns that, as of today, I'm not able to give specific answers, but I think these are themes that many in the industry are looking at and trying to find those answers. Jumping onto the next slide that I wanted to kind of throw out there was that there were many topics that were breaking the ice before Corona, that will they also be there tomorrow? So talking more about that when we get a bit further in this recovery. Ancillaries and having variable price points and different type of branded fares was definitely peaking up before the Corona. Ancillary services, these had started already many years before with the LCCs coming into the industry, but you do see more even traditional airlines going into making sure that they're able to segment and offer the consumer different type of options. And this is a big reason why ancillaries is part of the airline industry in such a strong way. But how will this go forward? Especially once we get more into these recovery stages. NDC has been a hot topic if I look at the past 4 years, and how distribution capabilities develop and how they're actually integrated into distribution overall. It'll be interesting to see how this goes forward. I still believe that if you look at the present technology that's used in regards to distribution, we're looking at languages that do not support the direction that the industry was taking in regards to personalization, in regards to offering ancillaries. So in that sense, I strongly believe NDC is here and it will also continue. I think it's more, will that pace accelerate, or will it stay in the status quo as it was before? But again, this is something that we'll hear more about it and see more how this is actually implemented over the upcoming year or so. Everyone had a view on what a 5-star airline, what 5-star service, or be it then 4-star or 3-star was pre-corona. Will this be new going forward once we get into the recovery and out of the recovery? Will those 5-star pictures in regards to the services that we see throughout the travel industry, will they remain at the same level, or will they be different? Will they alter? Will there be new standards in regards to what a 3, 4, and 5-star means in regards to service levels and expectations? This is an interesting one, and maybe you've seen, and I think we've all witnessed, some bits and pieces in regards to how that competitive environment will be going forward into the recovery and out of it. I think that revenues and talking about cash positive is still quite a bit away. I think there are still many struggles in regards to the financials and making that cash positive results for those in the industry. Will we see consolidation, be it in the airline industry, be it in regards to the B2B, in regards to tour operators or travel agencies or OTAs, or how will this play out over the upcoming months? As mentioned, we've seen small parts happening already, but what will that future hold in store, and what will that mean in regards to the strategies of those companies that still are in the environment 1, 2, 3 years down the road? These are some of the topics, and there are more that were before, where the question can be, will they be there also tomorrow? Just checking how we're doing here on time. On this slide, I also did want to represent, some of the criteria, I guess you could say, that if you in the industry, and now I'm looking maybe a bit more from the airline, but I think this can also be taken a bit wider and basically talking about anyone in the TNT, the travel and tourism industry, as well as with companies overall. But I would raise, if I had to take 5, these are the 5 that I wanted to share with all of you, that to survive the crisis and have a chance to be here in the future. I think these 5 are key. In today's world, if your data sets and data sources, both internal as well as external, are pretty much not living in regards to real time, understanding what's truly happening in the markets, both in regards to your internal numbers as well as external. If now you're starting to think that, how do I get these sources up to date? I would see that there are challenges then for these companies. I think data in today's world, where you're making decisions, where you have to be agile, which is another term that's used quite widely in today's environment. But I would say that agile, in the sense, making good decisions relatively quickly, because the time to wait also means money being spent. You do have to, be able to take these points quite quickly, and data definitely does help you, directing you as an organization in regards to decision making. So data, I would see crucial. And how easily are you able to get it? How easily is it also able to be read and understood? So how it's visually perceived, and how trustable it is, and how confident you are that the real-time numbers that you're getting are the actual ones. The next 3, I would say, are pretty much linked to each other. I think, evaluating the cost of sale and how much it is, doing this per segment and through the different areas. If you don't have a touch in regards to what it costs in regards to your sales, you have a risk of running up your costs in a time where cash is king, and cost is something that you really want to keep under control, and as an organization understand where those funds that you have are actually being put. These 2 are RASK and CASK. So we talk RASK and CASK, and these are 2 of the basic KPIs that airlines look at. So the revenue you get in regards to your capacity, and the cost that you have in regards to your capacity. And in very, very general terms, if your CASK is more than your RASK, you're in trouble. And these are numbers that you really need to to look at and understand, and understand how it is going forward. That, are you selling your capacity how versus previous periods, and how your cost is then aligning with that revenue intake. This is what I touched on quickly in regards to the modern agile. You have to be. It is a new world, and no one truly knows where we're going. If someone is able to say that we are making very good forecasts going into the future, they're lying. In today's world, I would say that at best you're making guesses, and sophisticated guesses, that the future, within this border situation, with consumer behavior still being such a question mark, I think you do have to be agile. You do have to make decisions based on your data sets and understand the data, having good market intelligence in regards to what's happening in the different corners of the world. You do have to have also a degree of bravery, and in that sense, understand what you are doing, because no one truly knows what that future does hold in store. And at the end of the day, I've seen and been happy to see that when a company, and now I can speak on Finnair's behalf, when you have a very clear strategy, you have a very clear direction and goal and targets in regards to where you want to be, where you want to get to, what those measures are in you fulfilling your strategy and actually putting it into place. When you have this as a basis, it does support you in your decision making regarding pretty much all the aspects of your business, be it in a crisis mode or a non-crisis mode. So I think the strategy is the base for you going forward, and it truly does help in these times. These times have meant for you as a company, and us as Finnair, is to review that, hey, this is what we had pre-corona as our strategy and direction. are we still in line with this? Do we still believe that this is the direction and the best direction for us as an airline to take over the upcoming years? And on Finnair's behalf, I can say that we're still very confident in regards to the strategy. The next 2 years, next 3 years will and are baby steps in regards to us getting back to the to close to those levels that we had in 2019. But you need to be agile and you need to be adjust when you see that areas need to be adjusted on. So strategy, it's still at the, you know, the base of companies and the base on what you're doing. But I think I'm pretty well on time, and I think I'm trying to leave a few minutes still for some questions and comments if there are any that are out there, because like I said, no one has that true answer and knows these are areas that we've been looking at in Finnair and having been part of the process. I'm very confident that we as an airline are taking the right steps in going forward. But I guess you can, you know, take the presentation down now, and I can take any questions if there are any out there.
Okay.
Perfect. I think I do see a couple of questions here that as a blogger and airline geek in the US, how can I help? And I mean, to this one, I think for us as Finnair, we're naturally, you know, getting the word out. And I think Finnair, you know, one of the areas where we put the most focus is that how can we get the awareness out on letting consumers throughout the world where our network fits, getting the message out to them and saying that these are the points that we at Finnair are putting a lot of focus on, and getting us into that bucket of options for that consumer when they make their decision in regards to what airline they will choose when they travel to. And you know, for this, we try and be creative. We try and use our marketing budgets and communication budgets and in a good way. We try and, you know, maybe find creative ways in getting the word out in regards to Finland as a destination again for that leisure traveler. We work closely with the TMCs and corporates when we talk about the corporate travel side. So I think, you know, if bloggers, you know, and basically those who communicate to the community see Finnair as an airline that they do want to, you know, build the awareness on, we're very happy about that. But I think that's one comment I have there.
There's a question about social distancing on airlines.
I think that, you know, this is a really good question. And when you look at what I mentioned about it, the service approach, the concepts that we've put into place as of mid-May that we have running until pretty much the end of August, that we'll be reviewing during the end of August, where we've added the requirement to use masks for both passengers as well as our crew. We're doing boardings and deboardings in different order. We've actually intensified the cleaning that we have during the turnarounds and during the time the aircrafts are in Helsinki. So especially focusing on those areas of which are touched most during the actual flight. So seat belt buckles, that's a tongue twister, but seat belt buckles, you know, the armrests, if you look at the tables in the seats in front of you. So really focusing on these areas of high touches, that we're really intensifying the cleaning aspect during the turnarounds. Social distancing, this is one where basically we are selling the capacity of our flights, but there also have been statements made in regards to the actual air qualities in the aircrafts, where the HEPA filters that do filter the air in the aircrafts actually do make that air one of the best if you compare that to be it shopping malls or offices or others. So naturally, you know, the health and the concerns the consumer have are ones that we do tackle, and we do take very seriously, you know, the different directives that come from governments as well as from IATA. But extremely good question, because this is on the top of, you know, the consumers' tongues.
Mike, Mikko, if you can answer the next question briefly. We are on the edge of time. I think it's called downscaling in New English. Have you fired crews? Have you laid off? Have you reduced salaries? Have you parked planes?
Yeah, so naturally our and it's on social media also, you know, we had our beauties sleeping, so our aircrafts were parked. We were only flying about 5% of our network, so, you know, for the last 3 months, so we did have quite a few there. If I look at the employment options that we have here in Finland, we do have a kind of a flexible way of furloughs, and these are layoffs that have been during Q2. We had quite extensive layoffs, which we are also continuing during H2, and in that sense we are trying to have the staff that's required to run this factory that we have, so the airline. So we are not at full staffing and will not be at full staffing during this year, but we have not been in the situation until now where we've made any decisions in regards to layoffs, and a lot of this has been due to the employment laws here in Finland, which do allow you to do these type of layoffs where we'll kind of see in 3 months, some 6 months, and so on.
I think we need to stop here, Mikko. I would have want to continue. I had a question about, you had this triangle about trust in the middle and financials, but we need to take that discussion 2-on-2. I will get in touch with you one of the next days. Thank you so much for your presentation. And it was Wolfgang who said he's an excellent speaker. He wasn't lying. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you very much. I enjoyed it very much, and I wish you all a very good Expo, and thank you for organizing, and thank you for the invitation. All the best to all of you.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
You too.